Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Spark. I'm Coach David. Hope you're doing fantastic on today. I hope everything about your life is moving the way that you want it to move. Because after all, you are the architect of your life, which means you're going to get to design, build, and certainly live the life that you desire. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. Listen, I'm super excited that you are here with me on today. Today, we're going to start a new series of lessons, and it's going to be entitled Trust the Process. Yeah, that's right. Trust the process. Really, today, I'm going to focus in on why most people quit the process too early. But we're going to lay some foundation for you like we always do, and we're going to get into it. Now, listen, everybody, to include myself, has said, hey, trust the process. You hear coaches say it all the time. You hear parents saying it. You hear employers saying, trust the process, trust the process. But you know what? Very few people take the time to explain what it really means to trust the process or what it really is to trust the process. That's where Coach David comes in. I want to help you with that on today because I understand this right here. When we get an understanding of something, when we get the meaning of it, then what we can do, we can move in a new direction, we can apply it to our lives, and we can become better. So we're going to talk about trust the process. Now, if I say that, that I'm going to trust something, that means that I'm going to make a decision to continue to do the actions, the proven actions that, that I need to do. I'm going to do them on a consistent basis. I'm going to do it even when it doesn't look like, or it may look like it's not working. In other words, I don't have any confirmation that this process that I'm using is bringing me progress. But you know what? I am going to trust it. Okay. So that means I've already made a quality decision that I'm going to continue on with it, even though I may not necessarily see the evidence that is working. The process, that is nothing more than a set of controllable actions that I repeatedly execute, that is going to lead me to a destination. It's going to lead me to improvement. It's going to lead me to where I want to go. It's going to lead me to the outcome that I want. Now, listen very closely. I'm not focused on the outcome. I'm focused on the process, those steps, those day-to-day steps. So I want you to hear this, and I want you to hear this loud and clear. Process is not your goal. Process is not the outcome. Process is not the result. Process, here it is daily behaviors that I control regardless of the results that I see. I'm going to say that again. When I say that, hey, I'm trusting the process, it means that I'm going to continue to be disciplined. I'm going to do the behaviors that I can control, those things that I can control, what I call the controlling the controllables. I am going to do those things regardless of the results that I see. In other words, I'm going to have disciplined execution, even when the results have not yet been validated, and that I'm putting in all of this effort, I'm putting in all of this work, I'm doing the things that I need to do, but I may not have evidence that this is even working. Now, that for a lot of people is enough to sometimes shake them up, to stir them up, to say, you know what, I ain't going to do this because I don't see results. I don't see outcomes. I don't see that this is really making me improve. But what you got to do, you got to hang in there long enough to see that it's working. So here's what we got to do. How do I even know if I have a process I can trust? Because I think a lot of times what goes on is like we say we're trusting the process, but we're unsure if we even got a process. So I'm going to help break that down and define that. How do I know if I have a process that I can trust? Because a lot of times as a mental performance coach, people will say to me, I trust my process. Well, here's my question. What is the process that you trust? And if you can't do these several things that I'm going to explain, then you need to go back and revise. I didn't say throw it out. I just say you need to revise and ensure that you have a process that you can trust. So here's number one. Can you explain your process step by step? Now, you got to be able to explain it. If you say this is my process, what is the step to step to step that is in your process? Because if you can't explain it step by step, I got to question whether or not, and listen, this is not a lesson to beat you up. This is a lesson to lift you up. Because if you understand that, if you start looking at it from this situation right here, what is my process? What is my step-by-step process? If I'll look at that, and I can begin to determine this is step one, this is step two. These are the things that I do. These are the things that I can do in my process. Here's number two. Am I focused on what I can control? Now, remember, I've talked about this a lot. There are certain things that you cannot control. You can't control the weather. You cannot control other people. You cannot control what other people say or do. You can't control those things, but you can control what you do. You can control your energy. You can control your effort. You can control your focus. Those are the things that you can control. Are you focused on those things that you can control? I've seen it with a lot of athletes, professional students. When they start getting outside of the areas that they can control, it becomes very challenging, very difficult for them. So my thing is always, as a mental performance coach, to bring you back to the things that you can control. Get in control of the things you can control, know your step by step, and you are well on your way. Here's number three. Is this something that I repeat daily, weekly, monthly, on and on and on? Is this something that I do? Because truthfully, if you have a process, then you know what the process is. Let me give you an example. I have a process for my drill team. And the drill team knows this is the process. We show up, we get ready at 2:30, we're on the pad, we're warming up, we're doing whatever. Now, sometimes we may have a meeting, but that's fine. But we have a process. We follow that process. Why? Because we understand this right here. When we follow our process, the outcome of what we're looking for is inevitable. We're going to follow that. Now, sometimes it doesn't work out. I'll be lying if I tell you that it always works out, because it doesn't. But I have a process that I can trust. And see, when you have something that you can trust, that's your foundation. That's what you can rely on. So even when things are going all over the place and you feel like, oh man, this is out of control and everything, if you go back to your process and you go back to the things that you can control, you are far better than just, hoping and praying that it'll work. Here's the next one. Do you execute your progress regardless of your motivation? See, a lot of people get into hype. A lot of people get into motivation, and they want to call that the process. They want to call that the process. But I got a question for you. What happens when you're not motivated? See, if you have a process, even when you don't feel like it, and we talked about that last week, even when you don't feel like it, you can still go and say, hey, listen, this is my process. Now, I don't feel like it today, but I know I need to get myself up. I need to get myself dressed. I need to get to practice. I need to do the extra reps. I need to put in the work. I understand that, and I don't even feel like it. I'm not motivated today. I'm not energized today. That's okay. I don't have to be. Why? Because I have a process. And if you will look at that and say, listen, do I have a step-by-step that I can explain? Do I have things that I can control that I work on? Am I repeating this over and over and over again? And also, am I doing this even in spite of the way I feel? Boy, I could stay there for a while. We have got to get beyond our feelings. Sometimes you feel like it, sometimes you don't, but you got to get beyond your feelings, because when you get right beyond your feelings, one of my mentors told me this one time, right beyond your feelings is the breakthrough that you need. Right beyond your feelings is the results that you are looking for. And if you will stay in it long enough, even though you don't feel like it, if you will do that, great things are going to happen. You have to get beyond your feelings. I can't say that enough. So now that I've explained all of that, now that you know what a process is and trusting the process means and what it is, and you also understand whether or not you have a process or not, now we're going to talk about what I came here for today. Why do most people quit the process right before their progress or their breakthrough shows up? Well, it's not because the process isn't working. It's not because the process didn't work. Here's what you got to truly understand. Here's where most people fall short at. They never truly understood what the process was or what it means to trust it. That's why they quit right before. Most people quit right before. You are right on it and they quit. I remember this story called 3 Feet from Gold. about this surveyor who went out and he did all of this. He bought all this equipment and borrowed money and everything else to go out and to find gold. And he was on it and he was tracking and everything. And then all of a sudden it went dry. And so he didn't know what to do. And so what he did, he stumbled and he stuttered and he didn't understand that there's a process to it. And so what he did, he up and sold all of his equipment to somebody else for pennies on the dollar. He gave it all up and he said, hey, the vein must have just ran dry. Well, this person that came in and purchased it, what he did, he went out and got a land surveyor and got the people that he needed, and they found the vein had just shifted 3 feet, and the guy was right there. The other guy was right there. So that's why they call it 3 feet from gold. Many times, that's what's going on. Our process is working even though we don't see evidence. And what we need to understand is we got to stay with it long enough until we see the results that we're looking for. Most people never realize that they're missing it until it's too late. You know why? Here's a couple of reasons why. Number one, people confuse their goals with the process. Process is not a goal. Process is what you do when nobody is watching. It's what you do when you're in the gym all by yourself. It's what you do when you're setting up late, burning midnight oil, studying algebra. It's what you do when you're making the presentations and you're learning more about your profession. That is what the process is. It's those things that you can control, those things that you can trust. It's putting it in. Most people focus on winning. Most students are focused on grades, and parents too, by the way. Most people are focused on their promotions or getting recognized. Then here's what happens. That outcome, that promotion, that grade, or whatever the case may be, is delayed, and then they start crying. They said, I worked hard for this. I prepared for this. I showed up when it was cold. I showed up when it was raining. I did all of these things, and nothing has changed. And then to make matters even worse, they get all into their feelings, and then their mind begins to whisper to them, maybe you're really not good at this. Maybe you ought to consider quitting. Maybe you ought to look at something else. And when they don't see the improvement that they're looking, when it doesn't happen, then they're like, oh my goodness, maybe I should just give it up. But listen to me and listen closely to this. No, improvement happens internally before it shows up visibly externally. So what you have to do is stay the course, trust the process. I'm telling you, this is so key to your success. Stay the course, trust the process. Stay the course, trust the process. But Coach David, it don't look like it's working. Stay the course, trust the process. But it looks like I'm getting, Coach David, it looks like I'm getting worse, not better. Stay the course, trust the process. Yeah, but somebody said, maybe I should give it up. Stay the course, trust the process. Listen, here's what I want to leave you with on this week, okay? I want to leave you with this, and I want to challenge you with something on this week. Do not trust your goals. Do not trust motivation. Trust the process. Don't you dare cave in and give up and quit, because you're 3 feet from goal. You are right there where you need to be. And so I want to encourage you to say, listen, just stay with it. If you will just stay the course, trust the process, you are going to see what you want to see. And listen, remember what I said. It's going to happen internally before you ever see it visibly externally. Stay the course, trust the process. See, people often ask this right here. They want to know, and this is not the question you should ask. This is not the question you should be asking. People say, well, is the process really working? No, that ain't the question to ask. The real questions you ought to be asking yourself, are you committed enough to find out if it's working? Are you? Well, I trust that you are. Listen, I appreciate you being here on today and hearing this. Remember what I said. Stay the course. Trust the process. Are you committed enough to find out if the process is working? I hope this has helped you on today. I really do. Because this is what it's really all about. And when we say trust the process, stay the course, trust the process, and watch great and wonderful things happen for you. Listen, it's been a joy to be with you on today and to help you on today. I hope this has helped you. Would you do me a big favor? share this with somebody. Let's get it out and understand what the process is and why it's just too early to quit. It's too early to quit. Listen, another one of my mentors told me this right here. He says, if you started yesterday, you've come too far to quit. And that's how I feel about it. Everything that I do. If I started, I've come too far to quit. And there's no way I'm going to cave in and give up and quit, because I am going to stay the course and trust the process. Listen, this is Coach David. I'm going to get out of here on today. Listen, it has been a pure joy to talk to you and to share with you. I hope this lifts you up, and I hope you'll take on that challenge this week and watch great and wonderful things happen in your life. But remember this right here. Remember this. You are the architect of your life. I'm Coach David. I believe in you. I'll see you on the next time. Have a great one. Bye.